Hello, Colorado brokers. Connie Tremblay, instructor here. Welcome to today's version of 2 Minutes Contracts class. I really need to update the title of these. They are never 2 minutes long. Today's class is all around the modification of the contract to buy and sell between a buyer and seller and what we are allowed to modify and some best practices. If you would like to know what I'm referring to, I'm in chapter 7 of this manual, which is actually on page 2-43. In chapter 7 is the updated, previous it used to be all of the F rules. They did a recodification in 2020 of this manual, and so what used to be the F rules is now all in chapter 7. Specifically if you're looking at this manual for 2021, it is on page 2-43. Please remember that these videos are not legal advice, and if you need legal advice, please call your employing broker, your employing broker's legal counsel, or if you are a realtor, you can call the Colorado Association of Realtors legal hotline. They are open 9 to 4, except they're closed from 12 to 1. So there is only certain sections that we are allowed to modify in the purchase agreement between a buyer and a seller. But before I get into those, I want to make sure that we understand that these need to be client-driven modifications. That we are not doing the exact same modification in every single offer that we write. Because if we do anything that's exactly the same in every single offer that we write, every single counter offer that we prepare, that's very likely no longer client-driven or client-specific. That potentially might be a broker-driven issue, and that can potentially be problematic. So remember that everything that we need to do in our transactions must be transaction-specific, and it must be at the behest of the consumer that we are working with or representing. On page 2-44, there is a list of all of the different sections that we're actually allowed to modify. I'm going to read these very, very quickly to you. You can find these on your own as well. You ready? Section 2.5, the inclusions. 2.6, exclusions. 2.7, water rights, well rights. Section 4.2, seller concessions. 4.5, the new loan. 4.6, assumption. 4.7, seller or private financing. Section 5, set financing conditions and obligations. Section 6, appraisal provisions. 7 is owners associations. Section 8.6 is the right of first refusal. Section 9 is a new ILC or a new survey. Section 10.6 is due diligence. 10.8, the source of water. 10.9, the existing leases, modification of existing leases, new leases. Those last two that I just read, as well as the next one I'm fixing to read, they don't apply to every single purchase contract. So they don't apply maybe to the residential, or they may only apply to the residential. The next one is section 11, estoppel statements. That one wouldn't apply to the residential. Section 15.3, status letter and record change fees. 15.4 is the local transfer tax. 15.5, private transfer fee. 15.7, sales and use tax. 16.2 is the rents, and 16.3 is association assessments. And let me read this to you, what it says here in the manual. A broker may delete part or all of those provisions that I read to you, or the corresponding provisions and other commission-approved forms if they do not apply to the transaction. In the event any provision is deleted, the provision's caption or heading must remain unaltered on the form, followed by the words omitted - not applicable. Be cautious that you are not deleting other sections that aren't in that list that I read you. Because if you are, it's possible that you could be found practicing law without a license. I see a lot of modifications of the purchase contract. Some of the modifications that I see in the purchase contract are the exact same in a broker's repertoire, if you will, of all the contracts that they've written. that's potentially going to be a violation on 2 layers or on 2 areas. Number 1, that they're modifying parts of the contract they're not allowed to. And number 2, it's not transaction or client specific. So hopefully you found some use in today's video. Some final housekeeping items. This is not legal advice. If you would like to know what upcoming classes I have coming, if you don't see any in your area, reach out to me or reach out to your local association. Make sure they've got some coming up for you. You can go to my website though and see where I'm teaching. A lot of the places that I teach for do Zoom calls or Zoom classes, and you are welcome to take those classes even if you don't belong to that association. You might have to pay slightly more for it, but it's a great class and you get to see me. If you have other topics that you would like to hear me cover, feel free to shoot those to me. And next time, we're going to talk about the process of objections and resolutions versus terminations. So hope you all have a wonderful week. See you next time.